Sergio Leone became involved in Italian filmmaking at a young age. He worked for many years as an assistant to Italian and American directors, allowing him to progress throughout the film industry and eventually making his directorial debut in 1961 with The Colossus of Rhodes, a historical epic about an Athenian hero attempting to overthrow a tyrannical king. However, during this time, historical epics were losing their popularity, leading to average and bad reviews of the film, but compliments on the visuals. This meant that Leone had to choose new kinds of stories to tell, and that led him to create the subgenre known as spaghetti westerns with 1964's A Fistful of Dollars. A Fistful of Dollars is heavily inspired by Akira Kurosawa's 1961 samurai adventure film Yojimbo. Both films involve a man arriving in a town with two rival families fighting each other for power. In Leone's film, the protagonist is played by a young and stoic Clint Eastwood. This film would establish him as a star, with him previously only being a television actor in America with few credited film roles. Clint Eastwood's character is mysterious, being rarely referred to in this film as Joe, but as the popularity of this eventual trilogy increases, he is better known as just the man with no name. Joe arrives to this town and gets introduced to the feud between the villainous Rojo brothers, the most dangerous brother being Ramon, and the more heroic Baxter family, containing the town sheriff who is quickly losing control of the town to the Rojos. He befriends an innkeeper, and in a way to make money, Joe decides to play as a middleman in this feud, pitting the families further against each other. He plays both sides, sets up schemes, and sells information to make money. While searching the Rojos' base for gold, he accidentally comes upon Ramon's love interest, Marisol, who we find out later is a hostage of the Rojos because her husband lost her over a game of cards to Ramon. Joe finds this out and frees Marisol, giving the money he has earned to her and her family before they flee the town. The Rojos find out about Joe's heroic act and torture him for it. He eventually escapes, leading the Rojos to believe that he has fled to the Baxters. This leads to a fight between the two families, ending with a win for the Rojos. Joe leaves the town to heal, eventually coming back when he hears that the Rojos are torturing the innkeeper for information. The film ends in a climactic showdown between the Rojos and Joe, closing with Joe's victory and departure from this town. The production of this film was messy. There was a huge language barrier on the set due to this film being an Italian, German, and Spanish co-production. Sergio Leone spoke no English, and the only communication Eastwood had with the Italian cast and crew was interpreted through his stuntman. Like most Italian films shot at the time, all footage was filmed silently, while dialogue and sound effects were added in post-production. Despite these challenges, Leone changed the way people look at westerns forever. The western genre seemed to be slowly dying, peaking in the 1950s. John Ford, the most popular American director of westerns, made his final western in 1962 with The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, a film reflecting on the history of westerns and making fun of the tropes surrounding them. This film marked the end of westerns in America until Leone's film came around. A Fistful of Dollars paid homage to American westerns but decided to break away from a generic script by containing more complex characters. Leone didn't want to show a straight line between good and evil within the film, making every character morally ambiguous by the way they react to specific situations. While we watch Eastwood's character free hostages, we also see him gunning down countless men. While it's clear that Leone wanted us to root for Eastwood's character, he wanted to make the viewer emotionally connect to the character based on his decisions. In this attempt to make cowboys more complex and realistic, Leone changed the way American cowboys are seen and portrayed in film. Compared to older westerns, these cowboys are dirty, unpredictable, and morally complicated. Like older westerns and still inspired by Kurosawa's film, Leone decided to have many shots of cinematic landscapes, allowing many incredible shots to look like a painting on their own. He chose to film in many Spanish locations, creating a more violent and colorful look to the film. He uses many extreme close-ups to establish the emotions of characters, doing so to make the characters feel morally complex. Leone wanted to make these close-ups similar to Renaissance-style portraits, with his use of lighting and framing in shots. The choices Leone made with this film changed the way westerns were presented forever. Everything had to look like a fistful of dollars now. The costumes, the cinematography, the violence. Ennio Morricone's iconic score was an example of how music should be done in western films. He was able to craft an epic score through whistles, bells, singing, and so many unusual sounds, allowing it to sound catchy and thrilling at the same time. Through this, spaghetti westerns were born. These Italian films were cheap to make and usually were low profit, allowing studios to easily make their money back while providing simple entertainment to viewers. Most of these films followed similar plots, with a stoic anti-hero arriving to town and fixing problems, killing bad guys, and sometimes even getting a girl. The popularity of these films began to die down by the end of the 1970s, but clear references to this genre are still seen in modern entertainment, such as in Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained from 2012 or the video game Red Dead Redemption 2 from 2018. Personally, this is one of my favorite films. While primarily being contained in one location, Leone creates large-scale feeling to this world by having interesting and complex characters, captivating music, and shots that look straight out of an art museum. His themes of greed and honor are easily presented through his style of storytelling. While many spaghetti westerns after this film tended to feel repetitive and passionless, Leone was able to perfect the style of westerns with A Fistful of Dollars.
My mistake, work orphans.